Indeed, this is it. Week 15, League De Nutz 2022. How you doing? Welcome to this week's show as we wrap it up for Week 14. Get ready for Week 15. Well, Week 15 is in progress as I take a little peekaboo. 3-0 Cleveland Browns, 7 minutes exactly. They're on top of the Baltimore Ravens in quarter number 2. In Cleveland at the Dog Pound. I'm Matt Levine. Happy holidays. Good to be with you as we talk about one more week to go in League De Nutz. Of course, lots at stake for many a team, right? It is the hunt for the final 3 playoff berths in League De Nutz. We'll talk about the teams that own half of those playoff spots that have already staked their claim for the second season here in League De Nutz. As I said, the scoreboard is ongoing right now. Let's just take a quick look at it. Of course, we'll refer back to last week's scoreboard, take a look at the playoff brackets. See, I'm too excited, a little overzealous, maybe. What the hell? It's playoffs. Playoffs? Almost the playoffs, right? My team's headed to the playoffs, so why shouldn't I be excited? Toes across too. But anyway, get into the melty. I'll get into the playoff bracket and cover some odds and ends and quickly go through last week's games because we have 2 in the books right now in the National Football League with the Thursday night win for the 49ers in Seattle and moments ago a wild one for the Minnesota Vikings at home against the Indianapolis Colts. They came back from a 33-0 halftime deficit to win by 3. So, let's do this. Here we go. Got a couple teams that you can see already feeling pretty good, right? Dingstown, not too shabby. Got JJ there, Jefferson, the Vikes, who was able to pitch in with a huge game. I think 40 points for him. Was able to get 39 primarily from McCaffrey the other night. And you see you got Del Rey, a little action going against Keldar, big one there. Shotgunners up on Fox. Big day thus far for Smash U. I know he's got Watkins going right. And you had Polkai on top of Loopy's. Delvin Cook, 67-yard touchdown catch to bring him with 1-1 late in that game for the Vikes, helping Polk out. ABs. Right now, the hottest team in League De Nutz, we'll get into that in a moment, with an 18-7 lead over Stanford. That's real-time as of real-time a few minutes ago and real-time now. So, we've got the scoreboard for Week 15 in action. You take a look at week number 14 right there, and you see the hottest team. When I talk about hot, I'm talking about flames, right? Tss. Almost need to douse myself off, get the fire extinguisher out. How about AB's painted helmet? They deserve all the flames and all the enfuegos and all the fun stuff that comes along with winning, as they have now been able to put it together. 5 straight wins. I want to get that football moving. I want to get those enfuegos going. There we go. Look at that. Everything going round and round. 6 straight wins, pardon me. Can never rip someone off when it's a win streak. 6 means a lot more than 5. Handing Loopy's Legends a 126-73 loss. And AB's able to get a lift thanks in part to Zay Jones, right? One of 2 players in the 20s. For AB's painted helmet, he had 21 points. Adam Thielen, 19 points. And he just had another humongous game for AB's painted helmet. And the Minnesota Vikings here in Week 15, as I told you, they just came back from the 33-0 deficits top the Indianapolis Colts at home. So AB's painted helmet, you know, it feels like Thielen has been around forever. Really does. He's just one of those guys. But he's still relatively young, but he had a retro day. He certainly did. He was the Jefferson in Minnesota a couple of years ago, right? The number 1. Now he's a 1A, and he's a terrific football player, and he was able to get things going. As take a look at that scoreboard again, right? So today, I'm shifting between 14 and 15. That's the NFL schedule does this to you when you have a triple header because there's no college football on the Saturdays, right? This week before Christmas and Hanukkah and the New Year's. And it trips you up with this show and toggling between both weeks. But you see AB's painted helmet there. He gets the points from Thielen. Anyway, let's go back to that score right there. 126 to 73 gets the win over Loopy's Legends. And the way he was able to get it done was with the man I just mentioned, Thielen and Zay, right? I talked about both of those guys. Thielen had 7 grabs a week before this in week 14 with a touchdown. Zay, 8 receptions, a touchdown to lead the way for ABs. They've wrapped up the Furley-Roper division. Congratulations to them. They're in the playoffs. They're taking on Stanford Does Nuts, as I showed you the scoreboard, right? And Loopy's in action against Polk. For Loopy's, it's a year to forget. What can you say? Win some, lose some. He's been one of the best members of League De Nutz, but he has certainly had a tough go of it as he loses his 7th in a row. Loopy's looks on to 2023. 4-10 on the season. Again, AB's 9-5. Let's move on and talk about Polk High School, right? Speaking of Polk, how about Polk High School? They went with all they could in this game, right? Everyone they had that they can put in the lineup, I believe with the exception of one player because of the buys, they were able to get the job done. Great win for Polk High School. They're alive potentially for a playoff berth. On the outside looking in, you can call them a team in the hunt. But they were able to do it and stay alive in League De Nutz thanks to the win over Smash. And when Polk wins, you get even when he doesn't win, whoa, Bundy! How about it? Polk also, by the way, is now 7-7. You'll have a 7-7. Just in case you're wondering. That was Tony Manero's favorite drink. And there's the actual recipe for a 7-7. Love the Band-Aid, right? Double G set everyone up. Got that huge rumble. You can look at mandatory. It's manventory.com. Manventory.com. And you can find that delicious drink recipe for yourself for the holidays. But don't have too many of them. Well, it's Saturday night. Do what you want. Anyway, as Polk 7-7, Tony Manero, Smash now 10-4. Let's take a look at the box. Polk, by the way, will play Loopy in Week 15. Smash will play Dax Picks. As you see there on the box score right there for Polk High School, getting it done with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And how about the New England defense? Outscored the Pittsburgh defense. 17 points. Right? You win by 35. That's half of them right there in the defensive battle. Chase with another big game. 39. Outdueling Tyreek Hill. Polk able to get the job done. As I notice in this, let me fix this right here. This is the wrong, one to the left is the wrong box. See, I told you, it's about to pitch a perfect game. You can never pitch a perfect game. This guy's got to come out. Okay. So now you're looking at all the right box scores right there. New England defense key, Chase key, go on down the line. Polk High School gets the job done. Way to go. And let's pay tribute to that New England defense and Jamar Chase. Why not? How about him? Anyway, let's move on as we talk about the playoff chase here in League De Nutz. So Polk at 7-7. Smash takes the loss. Smash, things are A-OK. He will go on to the playoffs, having sewn up his division. Smash and I going to duke it out on the final day of the season for the 1 and 2 seeds, respectively, and we're both going to get a bye, but we'll hit that up in just a moment. Keldar also chalking up a win in Week 14, right? As Keldar chalked up a loss in Week 14, my bad. It was Mr. Fox. Congratulations to him. 134-91. Fox wins. Keldar now also with the 7-up. 7-7 record. Fox 6-8. A lot of Fox. We can rhyme it with box, and you look at the box score right there. The dude bottom left, Mike Williams, fabulous football player. Healthy, alive, and well for the Los Angeles Chargers. 6 receptions, 116 yards, touchdown. That was the difference. 35 for him, 0 unfortunately for T. Higgins. Fox wins, right? By more than 40. Higgins out after the first play of the game. One play on scrimmage for him. First play on offense, 1 snap. And he came out with a hamstring injury. And that hamstrung Keldar. You can also see Godwin came up a bit short. So all in all, Williams a difference maker. Fox in battle. Fox wins that battle, and Fox will look to battle Yonkers this week. Keldar will play Del Rey. Let's move on. Stanford Dose Nuts. Connecticut's unwanted Dax Picks. Battle of the Constitution State right here. Won handily by Stanford. They're now 5-9 on the season. They'll play Smash. I'm sorry, Dax is now 5-9 on the season with the loss. He'll play Smash. ABs. I'm all over the place here. Stanford will play ABs. They're now 6-8 on the season, okay? And that one, well, there's 3 guys that made the difference. All highlighted right there. Goff, 36. Moore, 35. Peoples-Jones, who I think has the best name in the NFL, came up with 31. Pretty fabulous day from that trio. Yonkers and Dingstown did battle in week number 14. And in the end, it was Dingstown, 179-124. Dingstown also 7-up. They'll play Nuttstown in week 15. Yonkers will have Fox in this one. Guy I talked about in the beginning of the show came through this week with 40. Last week, there you see him circled a few times in white, 48 points. Number 1 receiver in fantasy football in the NFL for good reason. Puts up miraculous numbers each and every week. Well, I should say puts up fabulous numbers, including a miraculous win this week for Minnesota. Right? Look at the chart on him. Amazing. 51 he started off in week 1 against Green Bay. Has not slowed down from week 10, 48. Keep scrolling down. 48 last week, like I said. 40 this week, like I said. And Justin Jefferson just playing great football for the Minnesota Vikings and doing great things for Dingstown. I took on Del Rey last week, and hey, I won. How about that? Now, I had a win streak of 9 snapped the week before last. So I got my win streak snapped, and I'm back on it with 1. And this was one of those games, one of those losses for Del Rey. He would have beat just about anyone, right, in the league last week. If you look at the scoreboard, as a matter of fact, you take his 182. Yeah, he would have beaten any other team but yours truly in the Nuttstown Destroyers. It's just one of those losses. They happen. Week before last, he loses 154 to Polk, to the players on the bench. This week, he comes up short by 20. And the difference in this one, one of my running backs. No doubt about it, right? There's one of them, Dobbins. Watch some highlights. Dobbins, Sanders, McCaffrey. All three of them tremendous for the Nutztown Destroyers. I will take it. They outscore Jacobs, McKinnon, and Swift, who are really talented in their own right. They outscore him 89-66. Dobbins 23. You know, I made the decision when they activated him on Friday. I was like, I got to go with him. Because in week 4 this season, I didn't go with him. And I lost. And he had 22 points. And the week before that, he played his first game with being out all last year with the injury to the knee. So I put him in the lineup, and he came through for me, and he paid dividends. And the running backs, well, they were the difference maker for the Nutztown Destroyers in week number 14 against Del Rey. Now, Del Rey will take on Keldar. And as I said a moment ago, I will be in action against Dingstown as you take a look at Mr. Dobbins run that football. Very talented and one healthy, like any running back that's in the NFL, right? Any highly touted running back with a tremendous skill set like that, he can catch the football out of the backfield, can run. It just relies on one thing, health. It's interesting. You look at a guy Keldar has in the lineup, Saquon Barkley. The last few weeks, ice cold. Injury in the shoulder. You just wonder if the injuries are mounting up and they affect his play. Dobbins, I'll knock on my glass desk. He's healthy. Fingers, toes crossed. And I'm going to put him in the lineup and hope again he pays dividends. Speaking of the Meltzy. Well, actually, I wasn't speaking of the Meltzy, but let's speak of the Meltzy. I was speaking of Loopy's before, and he's got too many Meltzys this season. Last week's winner, Loopy's, wraps up the Meltzy with the 126-73 loss to AB's Painted Helmet. Loopy's with a commanding lead in the Meltzy race. 3 wins. Now you got Yonkers, Fox, Polk, one behind. Could have a finish of bi-Meltzy winners, right? Co-Meltzy winners. Joint Meltzy winners. Or Loopy's, he won it 2 straight weeks. If he wins it 3 straight weeks, he will have the Meltzy all to himself. It's not a distinguishment you want, because when you win the Meltzy, like Loopy's did this last week, you get one of these. Sorry, Loop. You know, like they said, Tanner said to the Yankees and Bad News Bears, hey, Yankees, wait until next year. That's what Loopy's is saying right now, I'm telling you. Okay, enough of the splatter-tat-tat. Playoff bracket looks like this. As the great Tony Gonzalez is quoted. He says there, it's about getting hot. Playing good football come playoff time. I think he was, talking about League De Nutz with that quote. Because right now you see it there. For the moment, I have the top seed. Smash has the 2nd seed. Now, I said something before that I should retract. I should know better, especially as the commissioner. AB's right now potentially fighting for that 2nd seed, right? AB's gets a win, Smash gets a loss. You go to the points, go to the head-to-head, head-to-head, then the points. So, Smash, you haven't gotten that 2nd seed yet. I'll get one of the 2 seeds with 11 wins, depending on what Smash does. That will determine a lot for ABs and myself, depending on what we do as well. So, with that said, you will get ABs, you'll get Smash, and you'll get Nutztown in the playoffs. The other teams right now, as you see, it would go Dingstown, Del Rey. With the win, he can wrap up Shoreham Drive East. I might mention that tie, the bad loss last week. Del Rey's seen the good, the bad, and ugly. He has seen the spectrum more so than the other rookies in this league. Of everything, you can get a little dose of. So your rookie indoctrination in League De Nutz, it's over. You've graduated. He's close to the playoffs. 5th seed would belong to Dingstown by the skin of his teeth. And Keldar would get the 6th, right? By the hair on his chinny chin chin. So right now, that's how it would stand. But you go to the standings. And you see those 3 squads I mentioned, 4 through 6. They all are 7 up. 7, 7, and 7 in the hunt. You've got Polk, who I talked about earlier. Right there. Knocking on the door. Won't get the division, but maybe some things swing his way with Polk. Now he's going to need Dings to fall to me, right? And then if you go around the horn, he would certainly need a win. Well, you got Keldar and Del Rey. He would need a win for Del Rey over Keldar. Del Rey wraps up the division, knocks Keldar out of the way. So that's the kind of action Polk needs in the hunt. And interestingly enough, I guess, with enough slicing and dicing, you go back to the standings. You've got a 6 and 8 and fantastic Fox, who's going to need a lot of legwork. And then those Nuts, who has no chance again at the division, but is 6 and 8 and would need a lot of legwork as well. But it comes down to our 7 and 7s. You got 4 of them. And you got 1 of them that's potentially going to win a division. Wow. Pretty cool. So technically you've got what? 6 teams alive going into the final week of League De Nutz. So 50% of the league is still mathematically alive. Guess that's what you want, right? Should be fun. There are your standings again. The points leaders look like this. Line does it bad. I got to blow it up on my end. Okay. So you've got Smash up there, right? 22-44. 8 points ahead of yours truly, ABs. The 3 division winners, all leading in the points. The way it should be, I guess. And you got Dingstown right there with 1926. Del Rey with 2018. By the way, is those 2 as I showed you before, right? They're fighting for that division, the Shoreham Drive, which is the bottom right. They split in their heads-to-heads. So they split in the head-to-heads, and if it goes to the points, well, right now, you got Del Rey up by just a little bit. Well, by a good amount. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff right now. So anything can happen going into that final weekend. And I'm telling you before, the head-to-head, the points, I got it right here. So, it says here, this fact mainly applies to leagues that use the H2 head-to-head records. That's what we do, is scoring seeding tiebreakers. All public leagues, points for is used as a seeding tiebreaker. And if the teams have the same points for, then the head-to-head record is secondary tiebreaker. If ties remain, then the interdivisional record is used, following for points against. Finally, by a coin flip. That'd be crazy if it comes down to a coin flip. We'd have to do a special League De Nutz show. So what did I say before? I'm looking at the points for. I'm looking at the points against. The split with head-to-head between Dingstown and Del Rey. And Dingstown right now, 10 more points than Del Rey. Wow. So that could be wild. What's Polk doing in the points? Let me see. Polk's got 19. Let me shrink this down here. Get it this way. There we go. Polk's got 1901, so he's 10th in the points. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. He's got, Polk's got 1868, 1950 for Keldar. Wow. This could get interesting. That's basically boils down to, look at this. I talked about this before, right? Let's see the moves that everyone makes. Shrink that down and get it over for you. Okay, look at this. I'm sorry, guys. You can't see what's going on behind the scenes, but I screwed up this whole graphic. All right, there we go. There goes all the moves that everyone made for the season. Wow, we got triple digits in the moves, man. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Almost triple digits for Stanford. Those nuts at 94 moves for the whole season. Everyone else is in the 40s and 30s. I've made 39. 39 for me. 15 for AB's painted helmet. 37 for Smash. So the 3 division winners that have been crowned all have less than 40. Amazingly enough, AB's only 15. So I guess it could be something to be said for that. Anyway, we're playing for the money. We're playing for that, the Nutz Cup. You have 65. I got half the money, by the way. I got more than half. I got 7. Right now, I got 7 payments in for the season. And I'll give you the choice. The last payment, the most recent payment I got today was by Zelle. So you have the choice to, I'm trying to make it rain, to send me your payments. Forget it. No rain this would look. Normally I would be in the middle here, right? My camera. The camera's not working, so no making it rain for me. You just get money. So I'll give you the choice of the person sent it today by Zelle. You can do Zelle, Venmo, snail mail via postal. You can do the Cash App. I'm missing one of them. PayPal. So I'll send an email so you guys can take care of that, please. And we'll get the money situated when we get the winners situated, and we've got a few weeks to go for everything. You cannot put the cart in front of the horse, right? We've got to settle down and see how this all shakes out. In other words, we've got to see who makes the playoffs. And then next week, I'll sit here on my perch and we'll talk about the respective squads that go into the semifinals. We'll have 2 matchups, and then I'll get a bye. ABs or Smash will get a bye, right? And then we get to sit back, relax, get our lineups ready. Unfortunately, 6 teams will drop out, but like I said earlier about Loopy, it'll apply to half the league. You start looking forward to 2023. For now, enjoy the games going on. It's Cleveland that's playing right now in action against Baltimore. Then Miami will be in action later on. So it's a heavy dose of football here on a Saturday, the triple header in the National Football League. Enjoy it. Lots going on tomorrow, of course. Full games, lots of activity, no buys. Week 15 in the NFL. This is when things count in the National Football League and when they really matter here in League De Nutz. All I can do with that said is wish you the best of luck and enjoy the football in Week 15. We'll be back next week with the playoff preview and a regular season wrap-up on this week in League De Nutz. Adios. Buena suerte.